Good evening, everybody, and welcome back once again to your Monday night. It's me, the Redneck JT. I got Sully the Geek with me as well. Yes, Avenger Pretenders is here on your Monday night for Daredevil Born Again. Tonight, episodes 7 and 8. It's going to be a lot of fun. And you're definitely going to need to wear a suit. A suit belt? How about a seat belt? Yeah, that works too. Do me a favor, grab your favorite adult beverage or whatever it is you want to drink, something to munch on. Sit back in that beanbag chair and suit belt yourself in because, Sully, it's all yours.
Oh, man, we need that clipped.
Oh.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Avenger Pretenders. I am Sully, and as JT messed up the intro, as always, because, well, I just like when he does it live. It's so much better.
Where the hell did I come up with suit belt from?
I don't know.
I mean, that one came out of nowhere just as badly as North to Oregano did.
That's a new one for sure. That's a new one for sure. So, hello, everybody.
It's like how I played that, suit belt yourself in.
You suited our belts in. That's what you did. Yeah, I'm going to have to go in and find that now and just be like, damn.
Well, luckily it's right at the beginning of the show, so it's not going to be too hard to find.
Also true. Also true. So come on in, everybody. Welcome. We are live on Twitch, Kick, DLive, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. Hello, everybody. We are talking about Avenger Pretenders. That's right. Our Marvel seasonal podcast that we can't really say is weekly because, God, I hope we get a week off soon.
Ain't gonna happen anytime soon.
Between two Ewoks in the park and Avenger Pretenders, we're all over the place. Want to say hi to Sharon, who just popped in on TikTok. Hello, and I want to say hi to everybody else who is live and kicking elsewhere and chiming in. Have some fun with us. Please be a part of the conversation. If you've seen Daredevil Season 1, Episodes 7 and 8, well, this is the show for you. We're, spoiler alert, it's been out for a week, so if you haven't seen it by now, I don't know, it is what it is. But want to say hi to Skippy, Slim, and Tracy. Hello, welcome to the show. And we're going to get right down to the nitty gritty because we have 2 episodes to go through tonight. And, well, let's face it, if we don't, all hell's going to break loose. And then we're going to
have to do a Wednesday show.
We're going to have to do a Wednesday show, and I can't do a Wednesday show. But, yeah, it's going to have to happen. So, this episode 7, is Art for Art's Sake. This one, now, mind you, JT and I usually do like a little, hey, what'd you think of the episode before we start talking about it? And it's interesting to say the least. Yes. Because we didn't do that this time.
I think my one word tonight was, damn.
Is that what you said? Damn? Or
no, not damn. Damn.
Hey, listen, it's a good word. It's a good word to use. So
it describes a lot of things.
So for art's sake, we have already seen Daredevil return. Matt Murdock has put the suit back on. He saved Hector Ayala's niece from the clutches of Muse in Muse's secret lair. Now, if you don't know who Muse is right now, he is, in fact, a serial killer who's been taking the blood of his victims, draining their bodies, and using that blood in murals and art pieces all across New York City. Now, first and foremost, JT and I are in agreement that is done fucked up. It is at that point of, damn, holy crap.
Right.
Not a good thing. Not a good thing.
And so far they have found blood profiles for at least 60 people.
Yes.
In these 12 paintings.
That's 60 people that have gone missing in the MCU. And we're still curious as to why or how. He chose.
Where did they go, George?
Yeah, which way did he go? Want to say hi to Meg, who just came in on TikTok. Hello, darling. How are you? We're going to have some fun tonight. Oh, and I want to say hi to Courtney as well. Am I saying that right? I'm pretty sure. Yep, Courtney. Hello, Courtney. Kathy, and thanks for the hearts. Yay. So, breaking it down, we've got some interesting things now because Fisk is now aware of Muse's terror, and he has initialized a task force, the Vigilante Task Force. I'm still a little torn on this task force thing. Mostly because it's all the crooked cops that are part of this or have had a bad rap or anything like that.
Right. Well, and, you know, anybody in power
Yes.
would want to form some kind of a task force like
Sure.
this.
Sure, absolutely.
Because this is enabling them to get things done
Yes.
that they normally wouldn't be able to get done.
Mm-hmm. True, true.
It's playing right behind the curtain, I guess you could say.
Which is a no bueno.
And it was Angela, as was her name.
Ah, yes, Angela. Yes.
Del Toro's niece.
Yes. Well, from here, now we've got some things going on where Wilson Fisk has not delivered on his promise to find and bring in Muse, or take him down, so to speak. And the task force has not been doing a great job. But now that Daredevil's back in the mix, we've got a lot of things going on. A lot of things going on. Because at this point, Fisk is saying, well, the authorities are saying that, somebody else was here. Somebody else is a part of it. He's not acting alone, which in this case, they have a feeling that Daredevil is back. And that's where Fisk is like, well, how did she escape?
Mm-hmm.
Who saved her?
He says that Daredevil did.
Could it be that the man, the myth, the legend himself is back?
You forgot one.
I forgot one?
Mm-hmm. The ass kicker.
Oh, yes. Well, I mean, he is an ass kicker, but so is Muse. Because if you noticed, Muse held his own in the last episode with that fight.
He did, and we will find out why.
Yes, we will. So now we have this wonderful thing going on where Wilson Fisk now needs to take out two people, Muse and Daredevil. Because Daredevil's the vigilante, Muse is the supervillain, or villain, I guess you could say. But who else do you put in charge? Well, let's find out if Daredevil is the one. Let's do this. Let's find it. But that's not good enough for some people, including Matt Murdock. Because he wants to find out who Muse is. So while they're doing their investigation into the lair, there's some evidence that needs to be found, right? You would think, anyway.
You would hope. You would hope.
That there's something for Muse. Well, Matt is in the shower, because this takes place right after said confrontation, and he's washing away all the blood. And that's when Heather comes into play. Don't you just listen? It's good having a woman. It's good having a woman.
Definitely circumstances where most men would not say no.
He didn't say no either.
Oh, I know. That's what I said. Most men won't in that situation.
Heather and Matt got it on in the shower, is what they did. Okay? That just saying that they got a little. Bow, chicka, bow, wow.
Woo!
I mean, the good thing is, and again, we've seen this with different shows. As a up and coming filmmaker / writer director, I've done a few things. It is absolutely okay to show the details of what two characters are doing on stage. I will never say no to that. I will never censor it. Most Netflix shows, they go into full-on detail. And I'm not talking detail like rated R detail. No. On the verge of NC-17 / worse than 50 Shades of Grey.
Damn.
Because let's face it, 50 Shades of Grey, that was so watered down it wasn't even funny. But that's besides the point. But I'm also a firm believer that you don't need to show everything, and that certain things are implied that happen.
As grandmas tell their grandnieces and all that, can leave a little mystery.
Right.
Leave something for the imagination.
Just a little bit. And that's okay. Again, two totally different takes on things. But it can go a long way. And in this case, it does. Because the two of them are bumping the nasty. They're getting it on. They're boyfriend, girlfriend. They've been seeing each other for quite some time. She's been sleeping there. He's been sleeping at her place. It goes back and forth without a hitch. It is what it is, right? Well, after said sexual encounter, that's when Heather starts pressing Matt about where he was last night, because he wasn't in bed when she woke up. And for him to lie, because one, he's protecting her identity, and two, he's also protecting himself so she doesn't get mixed up in things. He says, I went out for a walk and I got hurt.
Bullshit.
Well, you and I know it's bullshit, but if you think about it, the story actually plays out very well for somebody who is blind. Now, again, they're not helpless. We know this. I know a few people who have gone blind or are blind. Mm-hmm. They do not let things stop them from doing things. Now, for Matt Murdock, clearly he can see just fine, even though he's blind. He's got that whole hearing thing. He's got that sonar. He's got everything. He's got those powers. Okay? So he plays it off as, stop asking. It's embarrassing. Which, in a lot of ways, I mean, he got a freaking knife stuck in him in the previous episode. So, yeah, that's kind of embarrassing. But understandable as to why that happened.
Right.
So, looking at it, he's trying to spin it as, no, I went for a walk in the middle of the city and I slipped and fell down and I got hurt. Great story. Mm-hmm. It really is. It's a great story for him. But she really doesn't believe him. She's doing the whole doctor thing of, okay, but, you tend to put yourself in, all these different dangerous situations. I mean, the bank from the other day. Yeah. Why'd you go back into the bank? You had already left. Oh, yeah, I needed to be there. But again, that's the hero side of him. Yep. It was the right thing to do. Ha-ha! That came back, didn't it? Just like saving Hector's niece, Angela, was the right thing to do.
And again, just to kind of make sure that people understand, mm-hmm. his confrontation, I guess we'll call it,
Sure.
with Frank Castle, aka the Punisher,
Yeah.
kind of in his mind gave him the okay.
Absolutely.
Gave him the okay to go ahead and, start doing things again to help people, because that's when he felt good. He felt complete and all that good stuff.
You kind of
And that confrontation made it okay for him to do that.
Sure.
Which is why he was able to do the things in the bank that he did, and and everything up and save Angela and all these other things.
Sure.
So you always have to refer back to that, because it's been over a year since he's done anything as Daredevil.
Yes.
He put him away and literally locked him away, and you can see in episode 6,
Yeah,
the freaking lock that he had on that door.
Oh yeah.
And M1 Abrams' tank couldn't have blown through that freaking lock.
Nope.
So, he has finally given himself, thanks to the confrontation with Castle, permission to go ahead and start doing these things again.
And
what really opens it up for him
Sure.
is what happened to Angela.
Well, that, and here's the thing, he also got in trouble for that.
A little bit.
Because
Cherry chewed his ass out.
Cherry chewed him out like
like a drill sergeant that caught you sleeping while you're supposed to be doing push-ups.
Cherry chewed him out like a fat kid eating a cupcake at a diet camp.
Ooh, damn, that was better than mine.
Hey, that was the first thing that I could think of, to be honest.
That was a good one.
But think about it. He really did, because, one, Cherry's a former police officer. He's 100% retired, but he's working for the law firm as their investigator.
Mm-hmm. Which he was doing before.
Which is what he was doing before. Now, the thing with that is, he flat out told Cherry he wasn't going to do it again. But his defense for that was, are you kidding me? The police department is a joke right now. That the fact that the serial killer is out there.
Well, the comment was, your timing's a little off on this.
Yeah. Is it,
because,
though?
The mayor does have his task force out going after vigilantes.
Yeah. But and don't get me wrong, Cherry is 100% right on that. 100% right. But
then again,
but now the problem is Muse is on the run. He's going to make a mistake. He's in survival mode, so something is going to happen. Okay? Which basically means that Muse is backed up into a corner with no escape, unless he does something to get himself out of that corner.
Right.
Cherry flat out said, don't bring me into this. You're on your own. I can't condone this.
Yep. Refuses to help, tells Matt, if you want to ruin your life,
go right ahead.
I'm not going to be part of it.
Yeah. Which makes sense. Because he's just looking after him,
Mm-hmm.
And he is. He's just looking after him. But he did, but even Matt made a point of, the police are a joke. They would never have rescued her in time. And oh, by the way,
he barely rescued her in time.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. He barely made it. So now you have all these things happening outside, and yet Matt's being chastised for doing a good thing. He saved the girl's life, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
But Fisk found out. Let's face it, Fisk isn't dumb. Because if he was, you wouldn't be seeing this complex of a character in this show.
Well, he's also going to get his report from the police officers.
Without a doubt.
from their investigations, and obviously they've talked to Angela,
Without a doubt.
and Angela's like, yeah, Daredevil. Holy crap.
Want to try again?
I think I need to adjust my suit belt.
Daredevil.
She says that Daredevil saved me.
Which is good.
And they tell Fisk, she says he's back, but we haven't been able to confirm that. But Fisk knows.
Right. Fisk isn't dumb.
Knows. He's not stupid. He knows that Daredevil's back.
He knows that the only way this happened was because of Daredevil. But the thing that they don't know is why.
Right.
Why?
Well, and I hate to break it because I know we're kind of on a time limit here, but
yep.
Murdoch said one interesting thing when he was talking with Cherry.
Mm-hmm.
And that was that we need to look at everything that Muse has done, and we need to try to figure out what is Muse's next target.
Yeah.
That way we can take him down.
Yes.
Which is a good way of thinking, smart way of thinking,
Now, the other thing with that is Fisk is like, if Daredevil's back, let him do the work for us. We'll take the credit, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because now Muse is out of hiding. He's doing something. This could help us. Now, of course, his right-hand man, Cashman's like, yeah, but he's a vigilante. We need to take him down, too. But that's when he says, just putting it out here, he single-handedly brought down my entire criminal empire single-handedly, sending him to jail and ruining all of his business associates. Everything. Ruined the whole thing. One lawyer with superpowers kicked the crap out of the Kingpin's entire empire.
Yep.
And then he brought up an interesting word. He's a menace. And I went, Spider-Man! Because let's face it, Spidey is a menace.
Well, and he's used that word many other times in past episodes when he's been talking, especially when he was running for mayor, when he was talking about the menace that is the vigilante infecting the city.
Yes.
He likes that word.
He does like that word. Aw, Meg just gave me some dinos, thank you. The tiny dinos.
I want some dino.
And she got the live up to 3,000 likes. Thank you, darling.
Nice.
I appreciate it. More likes, the better. Share the link. Share the live. We're talking about Daredevil Born Again episode 7. And the other thing we need to realize is that Fisk has a responsibility now to protect the city. And he's sticking by that.
Yep.
He really is. He is sticking by that notion of, no, I'm the mayor. This is my city. I need to protect it from those who, quote, operate outside the law, also known as the vigilantes. Spider-Man, Daredevil,
promised to do.
Punisher, White Tiger, you name it. That's the thing here. Meg says she hates that she has to rest her damn voice. She's not feeling well. She's got the little coughs and stuff. So I hope you feel better, Meg. Now, while that's all happening, we do see Matt and Angela's aunt. Soledad, that's how you pronounce it? Soledad, right?
Yes, not Soledad.
No, Soledad. But we could be Soledad.
No, I just said no. It's not Soledad. If it was a guy, then it could be Soledad.
Well, I mean, what was your buckle up?
My suit belt?
Your suit belt. There you go. They go off to meet her and see how she's doing in the hospital and how she's recovering and so on and so forth. And that, Muse isn't going to hurt you anymore and that type of thing. And do you remember anything? And, obviously for her, it's like, yeah, I don't really know anything, but I'm glad Daredevil saved me because the police wouldn't have, which is true. The police went after Hector Ayala. Then he got killed. She has absolutely no trust in the New York City Police Department at all. No trust. But she did say she remembered seeing faces. Faces that were sketched out. And said, you guys need to go and investigate the lair because there's stuff there. Now, things are a little interesting these days because we know there's a lot going on with this Muse character. So, and just to paint a picture, so far we've seen Kingpin, we've seen Punisher, we've seen Bullseye, and now we've seen Muse. White Tiger, who is now dead. But of these main villains, Kingpin, Bullseye, and Muse are three of the deadliest villains that Daredevil has ever come across. Okay? Vanessa, while this whole thing is being done, now mind you, she doesn't really have a say in the government of New York. She's just the mayor's wife. She's a figurehead. A lovely figurehead. But you don't want to mess with her.
Yeah.
And she meets with Luca, who's one of the heads of the Five family. And he is not too happy with Fisk. Not too happy that he is now mayor and he's going to ruin all these endeavors that they got going on. And he's not going to take the money and so on and so forth. And she says, well, you really should kind of take it into consideration because things are going to happen. And she says to him, I was the one who sent Cashman with the money. So you can stay low. Play things smart. See how things are going to happen. Don't stop doing things. Just lay low. Lay low. And that's when Luke is like, Vanessa, not for nothing. But things were running much better when you were in charge. I mean, not really wrong, right?
I have to agree.
To me, sometimes it needs a woman's touch, right?
Sometimes.
Sometimes things need a woman's touch, right?
Sometimes.
But he just wanted her to be aware of that. And says, we make a good team and we should continue to be a good team. We should continue that. We should be allies. Allies to help us with the change that's going on right now. And that's when things are kind of left at that with Luca. Now, for those that like to read into things, as a comic book guy myself, I read into this a little too much. And I don't know about you, JT, but when you were watching it, and then you watched it and then you watched it a second time, right? Because you watch it to kind of just enjoy it, and then you pick it apart afterward. I watch it.
I just paid more attention second time through.
Yeah, I watch things and I just pick it apart no matter what. There's nothing I can do about it. It is what it is. Sometimes I have to watch it like 3 or 4 times just to enjoy it because I find something new every single time. Yep. But this scene gave me a red flag. And the only reason why it gave me a red flag was because of Luca.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Especially the end of the conversation.
Yes. Yes.
Because, he's like, well, we with him in charge, things are crap. We're not making money anymore.
But you are just
But
not lucrative because you got to watch what you do.
yeah, but with you back in charge, maybe we could make some things happen.
It's true. It is a possibility. Yep.
So yeah, I mean, when the boss of one of the gangs in the area looks at the old boss and says the older boss basically says the other boss needs to go away.
Yeah.
I can see why, well, he implies that. I can see why it might raise some red flags for you.
Just a little bit.
My reaction was, oh shit, someone's going to die.
Exactly. And that was the red flare. Yeah, the red flare. I mean, red flares. Yeah, those work.
Red flares work too.
We see, this is what happens. We're just tongue tied today. It's crazy.
This is what happens when you hang out with JT too long.
And me. So to me, that's a red flag because now you're kind of threatening the mayor, number one, and you're threatening his wife in a way, which is never a good thing at all, especially when it comes to the Kingpin and Vanessa. Now,
right.
Detective Kim is reporting directly to Fisk on this whole thing, and she found the canvases, I guess you could say, at Muse's lair, which allowed them to narrow down some suspects, and they say that it's Bastion Cooper. Now, for those that are really paying attention, Bastion Cooper is a psychopath. He really is. He's a psychopath.
No.
And yes, he is, JT. Yes.
Really?
Yes, psychopath.
I didn't catch that.
No? Are you sure? Maybe the mask with the red
anything anymore, dude.
Maybe the mask with the, reverse Deadpool look kind of
that could have something to do with it.
Yeah, maybe. So she says that he suffers from a long history of mental health. He's got Taekwondo training. Now we know why he was able to hold his own. And and
not just that, but he used to compete.
Yes.
In Taekwondo tournaments,
yes.
Which you can have all the training in the world that you want, but if you don't actually compete with it and let your mind and your body learn how to just react and do.
Yes.
Big difference between the two.
And
speaking from experience.
And the worst part about this was the fact that he took classes with Lee Suk-ji, okay?
Yes.
Which was his instructor for Taekwondo, but was found dead at Bastion Cooper's estate 3 months after he started training. But he kept up with it. And that's when Fisk does the whole, this is a perfect opportunity for the Vigilante Task Force. The anti-Vigilante
Nice.
Task Force.
That
Did I do that?
That was nice.
I did that pretty good, right?
That was good. That was good.
Listen,
I don't Tim Taylor it now.
And again, this is not knocking Vincent D'Onofrio because, my God, he plays a great Kingpin. I've said this over and over and over again. I'm beating it with a dead
perfect actor
horse.
for this role.
Oh, perfect. Absolutely perfect. So, so we fast forward and now we see Heather, and she's got a client coming to the office, which just so happens to be Bastion Cooper. And what I loved about these scenes is as they're discussing things, right? This is his therapist, mind you. Detective Kim is going over this with Fisk, right? Yep. And it's one of those scenes that they're going back and forth on. And this one, as they mentioned the Taekwondo, Cooper is giving his whole backstory on it. I didn't like it. I kept up with it because of, blah, blah, blah. My parents were abusive, blah, blah, blah. Like, he did this whole sob story.
And for most, forced into taking it.
Forced into taking it and not wanting it and all that other good stuff. And that's when we really start to see how psychotic Cooper really is. And how we're seeing the transition from being the person with a mental issue that is seeing a doctor for help to now somebody who is absolutely obsessed with said doctor and showing the art and using blood to draw things out. And we start to see Heather kind of put two and two together and go, shit.
And then, he proceeds to, he gets a bloody nose.
Yeah.
He proceeds to draw out the Muse mask.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's quite entertaining, to be honest. Because...
And then, she tries. It was fun. It was neat how it all happened here at the end of the scene.
Yes.
Because, he's right there. He's already cut her arm.
Yes. Well.
So that she's still got the band on there, so it's bleeding, but it's not bleeding bad.
Right.
And, he's like, I know what you're thinking. Can I get to the door in time?
Yeah.
And she tries to take off, and he grabs her, spins her around, and slams her backwards into the wall.
Knocks her out.
Knocking her out.
Knocks her out, ties her up.
And that's, a nice way to end that scene.
Oh, yeah.
A nice thing to do to somebody, but it's a nice way to end that scene.
True. Very true. Now, on the home front, Kirsten is confronting Cherry about work and why Murdoch keeps talking about stuff in private. So she has no idea that he's Daredevil, nor will she. And she also flat out says, I don't appreciate secrets being held in my law firm. Mm-hmm. That goes for Matt, and that goes for Cherry. Yeah. And she was very disappointed in Cherry for that. But she also understands why. Because let's face it, plausible deniability. Sometimes you have to keep a secret, right? Well, because of that, she feels that there's a lack of trust. Mm-hmm. And that lack of trust can lead to an entire law firm collapsing. Makes sense. You have to know and trust your partners to do the right thing.
Yeah, completely secrets aren't good in a law firm.
You're right. Right. She's seen it happen. And she has. Hell, look what happened with Nelson, Murdoch, and Paige. And they all trusted each other.
Right.
They also knew Matt's secret, but that was also why they kept things from Matt, because they didn't want him to put on the suit and be Daredevil to do things that they otherwise wouldn't have been able to do.
Right.
Now, the AVTF, also known as the Anti-Vigilante Task Force, is investigating Muse's lair, And Daredevil, complete an outfit, goes down and starts checking out some of the evidence that they're taking, the pictures, which I absolutely loved. I love how they did this because, obviously he's got gloves on. You can't feel texture with a glove on. And he takes the glove off, and the first thing I'm thinking to myself is fingerprints. His fingerprints are now all over those things.
Honestly, I never thought of that.
You never thought of that? No?
Yeah. Never crossed my mind.
Out of all the NCIS
for me,
shows
the
you've
thought
seen,
in my head was he needs to feel, how's he going to know who these people are? Well,
right,
he's feeling the contours of the faces and everything. Because even if it's in blood, there's still very, very slight contours which he's going to be able to feel.
Yep.
And as he's going through these, he comes across one of Heather.
Yep.
Runs his fingers across it, puts it down.
Well,
keeps going through them and comes across another one.
Yes.
And he feels that one. He's like, wait a minute, that feels familiar. To me, he's saying to himself, wait a minute, that feels familiar.
Yep.
So he goes back a couple and feels it again, and then he pays attention. And earlier in the episode when they had been talking, he had run his hand
over her face,
across her face, feeling the contours of her face and everything.
Yep.
And right about that time, as he's realizing who this is a drawing of,
oh shit,
he has a visitor.
Good old Connor.
Yep. Mr. Powell.
Dude, I think this guy is more the comic relief now.
It's kind of looking that way.
Because every time now, it's, either Matt does something to him, threatens him in some way, or in this case, knocks him the hell out.
One solid bunk right in the middle of the forehead with his folded up walking stick.
Oh, thunk.
Whack, boom, he's down. And away Murdoch goes.
Yeah.
Because now he knows who the Muse's next target is.
That person there. The one he's sleeping with.
The one that he's in love with.
Run! Run! Now, I will admit, this scene was very dark.
Oh.
If you think about it. Very dark. Because you now have Glenn tied up in a chair. Muse is in his full outfit, everything. Saying that my name is not Bastion Cooper. It is Muse. This is my true self. I am the artist. And you are going to help work me through and get to know me and understand who I am.
Well, and she even, calls him Sebastian a couple of different times. I'm not Sebastian.
I'm not Bastion. Leave me alone.
I'm Muse, and so on and so forth.
But then, as he's torturing her, because let's face it,
dun, dun, dun.
He's torturing her big time. He even he even is prepping her, like you said earlier, cuts her arm open, has it all tied up so he can get the blood out of her. She is just ripping into him, lashing out, screaming, telling him that only cowards hide behind masks.
That was the one that set him off.
Yeah, and that kind of just, breaking point. Okay, I'm gonna, I'm gonna kick the living shit out of you now. And
wait, right here, I just have to say, here he comes to save the day.
Oh, this was great entrance. It really was. It was a great entrance.
Well, it was, AKA SWAT team entrance.
Yeah, what, 4 floors up?
Yeah.
Where, obviously Matt comes crashing in and the two of them start fighting. Big time. And
amazing fight scene.
And, I mean, it is a brutal fight scene.
Well, and if you think about it, because now you know that Muse has Taekwondo training,
Yes.
competitive Taekwondo training. So that is, that's how he was able to get. Because most people that Fisk is or that Daredevil's going to go up against aren't that versed in the martial arts,
Right. No, you're right.
you know. And but this guy, he's got weapons training, he's got martial arts training, and everything else. And I mean, this was having taken Taekwondo myself for like 5 years.
Yeah, I was about to say you took it for a while.
This was an out and out Taekwondo fight.
Yeah.
From the beginning. I mean, you're getting the side kicks, you're getting the front kicks, you're getting the roundabouts, you're getting the back fist, the whole 9 yards.
Yes.
Great fight scene.
Oh, yeah.
The ending, I did not expect.
Like what? What do you?
The end of this fight came out of nowhere because they're fighting, they're up close, hand to hand, boom, 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 and Daredevil knocks Muse backwards.
Yes.
Stumbles him back a couple of steps.
Mm-hmm.
And right then, all you hear is boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, that was a lot of bullets.
Heather unloads 3 bullets
Boom.
into the center of his chest.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just sitting there going, oh, shit.
He did.
I mean, literally out loud. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
It startled Kay a little bit when I did that. But, I mean, you would not expect that.
No, you wouldn't.
For an ending. Not with these two fighting. There's got to be something that happens in this fight.
Yes.
That takes him down.
Yeah.
Wrong again, McFly.
It happens. It happens.
A lot with me.
But now the thing is with that, we've got Heather that's bleeding out, where Matt stabilizes her as best he can and flees once the task force breaks in. And
she collapses. She collapses right after that.
She was out. She was, ugh. Well, Cole North, who's on the task force, is giving Fisk a rundown of what happened because Fisk went to the scene of the murder-suicide attempt. And as they call it. They all tell him, we believe Daredevil did it. And Fisk went, nope. We did it. The task force did it. We're going to take the credit.
AVTF should take credit for taking down Muse as the legitimate protectors of the city.
Yep.
Were the words that he used.
Yep. So with that, obviously, Blake, good old Blake, he tells BB Urich that, I've got some things for you. And he kind of does some shady shit. When
he kind of turned into Fisk.
He kind of did a little bit.
He kind of turned into Fisk a little bit here.
He kind of did. And said, you set me up with the garbage disposal article. Well, now you need to do something for us. We need you to spin the narrative. We need you to do this. This is what happened with Muse, and you need to do it. And oh, by the way, bygones be bygones.
Well, actually, it was you have 2 choices.
Yeah. Well,
and that's why I say he kind of turned into Fisk here because
he really did.
You got 2 choices. You do it the way that we want you to do it, and things will be great.
Yep.
You'll have the inside track on everything, and blah blah blah. But if you don't, you think things aren't going to be very nice.
Yeah, it's not going to be pretty. Not going to be pretty. While Heather is in the hospital recovering, Matt is with her, and she finally wakes up. He's like, listen, you got out, you minor injuries. You're going to be fine. And even then, she's very upset that she took somebody's life. And Matt's like, yes, but this was a fight or flight thing. This was survival, Oh. And he even said to her, you did what you needed to do. And she recalls Daredevil showing up Daredevil was there. And he called her by her name.
And I didn't catch that. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it again.
Oh yeah, he did.
I didn't catch him using her name.
Yeah, no, he did. He flat out said Heather. A couple of times, stay with me, is what he said. Heather, stay with me. You got to stay with me.
Might have been back when because when the cops came in, they said that she had been triaged.
Right.
So somebody dressed this wound.
Yep.
Kind of thing.
Now
so
the
other
thing is he's listening on the TV now as Fisk goes live saying that the AVTF has taken down Muse and are claiming everything for it, which to be honest doesn't really bug Matt that much, but you can kind of see it in his lips that he's like ready to frickin' punch somebody out. But
of course Powell has to hold up the Muse mask.
Yeah. Well, yes, you needed it for dramatic emphasis. If you didn't have it, it wouldn't work. Vanessa, in the meantime, texts Luca and gives him an address. And flat out says he's all alone.
Yep.
So Luca goes to this address. And he goes there with the intention to kill Fisk. Now, this whole scene I called. And I called it as it was happening. For a few reasons. As the son of a cop, I have always been taught to sit facing the windows and the door. And
I always know your way out.
And the reason for this is A, to know your way out. B, you can see what's happening. And C, if something does happen, you can spring up quickly and help those around, including but not limited to your family first. Now that has been said, this is the kingpin of crime we're talking about here. And the restaurant that he is currently eating a wonderfully cooked steak, by the way. Did you see that steak? I was like, dude, I want to eat that steak.
It was as thick as his hand.
But it was, like I wanted that steak right then and there. I was like, ooh, I need to find this restaurant and eat this steak.
It was juicy.
It looked delicious. Delicious.
Of course, you're not gonna feed the mayor a subpar piece of steak.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Now, when Luca walks in, he obviously pulls his gun, and we see Fisk facing away from the door. Red flag number 2. Because the kingpin of crime would never, ever be sitting with his back toward the door unless something was already planned.
See, here's where I'll devil's advocate you. Think about the times that Luca has talked to Fisk, as well as the times that he's talked with Luca.
Yep.
Many times he has said that Fisk has lost his touch.
But has he?
Well, that's beside the point.
Because
this is Luca's what Luca's looking at, what Luca's thinking.
Sure. Yes.
And his mindset is that Fisk is not Fisk anymore. He has lost his touch. Plus, he's gone soft. Gone into the mayor's office. So in Luca's mind, it's not surprising to him to see Fisk with his back to the door because he's lost his touch.
But has he? Because as Luca pulls the gun out, Cashman fires from the shadows and shoots him dead.
Yep.
Kingpin has not lost his touch.
No, not at all. And the crazy thing is you think about it, that means Vanessa talked to Fisk.
Yep.
Told him what Lucas said.
Uh-huh.
They came up with a plan together
to
take out one of the leaders of the 5 families,
Exactly.
which they didn't have to get permission to do because, well, they're the heads of the whole thing. So,
Now,
yeah.
with that being said, Luke is now dead. And this was by far one of the greatest lines I thought of from Fisk was casually asking Cashman if Vanessa would like him to bring home takeout. And I'm like, there it is. Gotta feed that
Vanessa,
woman.
see if she wants me to bring something home for dinner.
Gotta feed the woman.
Oh, yeah. And it's just, again, showing that he hasn't lost his touch.
Exactly.
Because he's not letting what just happened and the fact that 2 bullets flew by his head from his trusted right-hand man, no doubt.
Exactly.
And he's still unfazed.
Exactly.
So,
now,
hell of an ending to the episode, though.
That was a great ending to the episode. Absolutely great ending. Now, because we still have to do number 8.
Yep.
What's your rating?
Odds you first.
Odds are me first? Oh, I keep forgetting that.
I have it written down right here.
Thank you. So, with this episode and everything that I've already stated, I've already given 2 5s out. Unfortunately, I'm not giving this one a 5.
I was going to say, I can't see you giving this one a 5. Maybe a 4.5. But not a 5.
You are absolutely right. A 4.5. Now, the one thing that I would say would probably have brought it up to a 5 is if they did not kill Muse off in this episode.
As quickly.
Yeah. Because if...
But to get him the storyline forward, too.
Which... So. It works because we're circling back.
Yeah.
Soon. I know we are. Because I've watched it, but that's besides the point. So for me, I'm giving this 4.5 Daredevil Billy Clubs or helmet horns or however we're doing this. But 4.5 is mine. I loved it. I thought the story was not slow. I love how it worked up and you had this wonderful fight scene. And I love that they did not make Heather a helpless victim. That's a key. That's a key right there. She was not helpless. What about you?
I agree with you 100%. And, I have to say that it doesn't really surprise me that I'm saying this, but it does. That every fight scene.
Oh, it's amazing.
That we have had in this series from episode 1 through episode 7.
Yep.
Have been amazing fight scenes. I'm not going to say one of the best fight scenes I've ever seen anymore because every one of them in this series has been like that.
Yes.
I agree with the Heather not being, the weak female.
The helpless victim.
And everything, she fought for herself.
The cliche
which
victim.
Was great. Which I would expect from somebody, from the type of character that she is.
Yes.
I'm going to be honest with you. The ending kind of surprised me.
Ooh.
The ending kind of surprised me. I expected Fisk to do something.
All right.
Like have a gun pointing, maybe under his shoulder or something like that and, take him out that or something like that. But
sure.
So, getting shot from the shadows, which was the coolest thing because you never saw, all you saw was the 2 flashes.
Yep.
So that kind of surprised me. I expected it, but I didn't expect it that way. That being said, 4.25 Billy Clubs.
Nice.
Great episode. Loved it. The timing on it was beautiful. The timing on all these episodes have been, even the slow episode, have been great.
Nice.
So, I mean, and knowing what's coming up.
Especially when it comes to episode 8. Now, episode 8 is Isle of Joy. Now, we're not going to go into the full detail of every single scene of this episode because you don't really have to. What we do have to talk about, though, is
it's
the
like
fact
3 scenes.
Yeah, the first couple of scenes, you have to know that this episode falls during the first inaugural black and white ball for Mayor Fisk. Okay? This is the ball of, you have to have it. I'm the mayor. Everybody's going to be invited. It's the black tie affair that you need to have, right? Yep. Just like the inauguration ball for the president. Everybody's there, you know, all the senators, all the congressmen, you name it, they're all there. Okay. So that's the setting. That's the main.
All the people that kind of threatened him.
Yeah.
At the inauguration ball at the beginning of his term.
Yep.
And kind of told him, you know, you may think you run this town, but you don't, we do.
Yeah.
All of those people were at this one.
Yes. Now, it starts off with, we're taking a trip to Rikers Island, where our buddy, Benjamin Poindexter, also known as Bullseye, is taken out of solitary confinement and put into the general population. Now, with that being said, the pleasure of the guards. That being said, that is a good idea and a bad idea. For two reasons. One, good idea. You hope he does something wrong and the general population kicks the living crap out of him and possibly kills him.
A little bit of prison justice, basically.
Yeah, a little bit of prison justice. Bad idea is whatever he gets his hand on, he can use as a weapon and, oh, by the way, kill you. So that's an important piece because Fisk is the one that ordered him into the general population. All they say is Fisk. They don't say if it's Vanessa. They don't say if it's Wilson. Nothing. Just Fisk is the one who did the order. Now, at the same time, Wilson brings Vanessa to Red Hook, where he shows her Adam. Adam is battered and beaten. He's locked up. He's still alive. And that he's kept him prisoner for a few reasons. One, for his personal punching bag. And two, because, you know,
he promised Vanessa he wouldn't kill her.
Yes. Yes. However, she turns around and kills him instead. So, Adam's now out of the picture. Bye.
3 rounds to the body and 1 to the head.
Bye. We can move on, walk away, and we're good to go. Okay?
Well, but before we do,
yep,
you have to talk about the interaction between Vanessa and Fisk.
Which was very interesting, to say the least.
Because basically, her blowing Adam away cleared everything away. Because Adam, where he was and what had happened, and even Fisk was like, I can't get him out of my head. I can't get his voice. I can't get his hands out of my head, which, you know, with him being with Vanessa, I can totally see.
Yeah.
But the fact that she took him out right in front of Fisk,
just goes
wiped
to show
all that
how
away.
Brutal.
All of a sudden, they were back to how they were before he left.
I believe there's a song called "And This Is Love," do, 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 do. And this is love.
Automatically, just from her doing that, everything is good. Everything is copacetic. As she says later on in the episode, all the old wounds are healed and done.
Slate is clean, absolutely clean. Now, at the same time, Heather is kind of coping with the fact that she took a man's life and is trying to talk to Matt about the violence that Daredevil and Muse have And Matt's like, whoa, 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 Daredevil is nothing like him, which we all know that's bullshit, but that's besides the point. Um, he's not like him to the extent that we think, anyway. But she gets invited to the the mayor's ball, the black and white ball, and it's they're having a little relationship spat, so to speak, but.
If you have time to watch the episode, it's a very interesting conversation that they have.
It really is, because it's Matt's trying to defend Daredevil and Punisher and all of that. Well, not really the Punisher, but you can't really.
And if you think about what her subject is for her next book,
right, which got a little altered a little bit for this next book.
Yeah, because now all of a sudden she can see a little bit more of why vigilantes do what they do.
Yes.
But does it still give them reason to wear a mask and blah, 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 and everything else? And it's a very interesting conversation if you listen close.
It's interesting, to say the least. And I do recommend going into detail. I'm glad that they showed this scene. Do I think it needed to be in there? Probably not. But at the same time, it helped the story along, because it was one of those, I got invited to a party. I want my +1 to be you. And are you going to come? Even though we just had this little fight. Yeah.
And he smiles and walks out the door.
And he walks out the door. But at the same time, when he gets to work, they flat. Kirsten is helping another case, Thomas Madison, who, well, he's a douche.
Douchebag.
He's a douche. But the fact of this scene was to see kind of Matt's breaking point, because he can hear people's hearts beat, so he can know when people are lying to him, and he does not like that, and he just snaps, and rightfully so. He snaps.
Out and outright called the guy a liar right to his face.
But it also gets worse, because even though he snapped and he walked out of the office, Kirsten followed him and said the Poindexter's asking for him to visit him and see him so they can talk. And he's like, do I want to? But Kirsten's like, no, you don't. Don't even bother. And they get into this whole spat of, the law and everything like that that's happening, because he flat out says, listen, we put him away, but did it really change anything? Did it? Did it change anything? And
it's understandable with everything that he's been through recently. Sure. And he even, he lists things, Foggy, Ayala, and this, that, and the other thing, I don't know. Do we even do any good anymore? Does it even make a difference?
Yeah.
And yet, these guys get away. Ayala still gets murdered, but yet the other guy goes to jail for eating a box of freaking caramel popcorn.
Yeah.
So he's really torn. It's a crisis of conscience for him right now.
Yep. And it's interesting, to say the least. And the only reason why I'm combining these two scenes is because really they didn't really need to split these up. I understand why they did, because
it did work. It did work.
It worked. But it was the fact that this guy Madison was defrauding teachers and flat out lied about it. And that's...
Grandma was a teacher. My mama was a teacher. My girlfriend's a teacher. Why would I rip teachers off?
Right.
I love teachers.
Which in a lot of cases, not so much. But the other thing is, Fisk is kind of celebrating with Cashman, Rivera, and Blake, saying, hey, this anti-vigilante task force is such a great idea. Yes, it was. And, oh, by the way, we need to keep these things happening with the excessive methods.
The ACLU is filing 13 lawsuits for use of excessive force.
Yeah. And he's like, let him. It needs to happen. It needs to happen. Because this is for the good. We want the good publicity. And the good publicity is outweighing the bad right now. Do I agree with that? No, not really, but it's happening. Okay. It
That's
really
what he
is.
thinks he's doing.
So, Fisk is like, I want to thank BB Urich for doing the coverage of all those of the events and everything. I like it. I like the press. It's going our way. This is great stuff. Great stuff. Keep it up. Keep up the good work, buckaroo. Because this is going to help the future of New York. And I'm going to be at the forefront. You can see ego, like just ego.
What did he do? He made, was it Bruce?
Blake?
Blake.
Yep, Blake.
He made Blake the deputy mayor of communications.
Yes. Deputy Mayor Communications. What a wonderful thing that is, right? Right?
Sure.
Isn't it wonderful? It's just wonderful. Well, it also just so happens to be, what was it, a year? Over a year.
Right around.
Almost a year to the day that the Josie's bar and the shooting and all that happened. And Josie was like, it's about time you came to visit. Are you going to stop standing out in the rain and get your ass in here? Because let's go. We need
Get in here
to
and
talk.
have a drink.
Yeah, come on in, have a drink. Cherry finds him because, well, Cherry can find anybody. And he even says, Poindexter was acting alone to get revenge. You got to move on, man. Got to move on.
Gotta let it go.
And the thing with that was, Josie mentioned that Foggy was having a special drink the night that he died. But Matt was like, no, he wasn't. No, he wasn't.
And here's the thing, because if you think back I want to say it was episode 5.
Mm-hmm.
After he had won his case with Ayala.
Yep.
And him and Vanessa were talking, or not Vanessa, Heather.
Yep.
Were talking. And he told her about their tradition of a bottle of Old Mulvaney's.
Yes.
And having a shot in celebration.
Yes. And that's when Murdoch pretty much put it together that he was going to win. Foggy was going to win the case. Which is the only reason why he would open that bottle and have that drink.
Right.
But somebody silenced him. Somebody hired Poindexter to take him out. So he knew. So Matt's like, fuck this shit. I'm going to go meet him.
Yeah.
And he meets him. And he goes, not for nothing. Were you hired by Fisk to take out Nelson? Because he knew too much?
Mm.
Did you want him dead because of that? And he doesn't answer. He doesn't answer at all. But he does say, listen, if I stay in Gen Pop, I'm going to die. And I thought this was an interesting scene. Because I want to say hi to Amelia Zoe. Hello. How are you, darling? How have you been? We're talking about Daredevil Born Again, episode 8. Spoilers are in full view. This is where we see Matt get rid of the lawyer and kind of become Daredevil again without the outfit. And I always thought this was interesting because he literally just starts pounding Bullseye's head to a table.
3 times. Wham, wham, wham.
Very angry, but Bullseye just laughs. He just laughs. And Murdoch's like, take him away. Get him out of here. Scram. Do your thing. He started hitting himself on the desk. And I'm like, ooh, you little snitch. You liar.
Poindexter looked at him and thanked him.
Yeah. Thanked him.
Of course, he told him to fuck, F off.
Yep. Go fuck yourself. Believe that's what he said. Or was it just F you? I forget.
It was fuck off.
Yeah. Well, just because we got a lot of stuff going on, the ball, the black and white ball, is now happening at Gracie Manor. And is it Gracie Manor or Mansion? I forget. I'm from New York. I should know this. I should know this.
Doesn't matter.
Gracie Mansion is what it is. But while that's happening, the AVTF are security for this. So nothing bad happens. But they have certain rules. No phones, no recording devices, stuff like that. And
no pictures.
No pictures, none of that stuff. And Blake is doing his thing, and that no longer needs to worry about what Rivera thinks anymore. And he talks to BB Urich, and we see, him say, hey, I was made the deputy mayor for communications. Yay! That's great. But then we see Swordsman as well. Yes, that's right. The Swordsman, Jack Duquesne, is back. Oh, yes, one of the elites. And we see Artemis Sledge, too. Good old Artemis Sledge. She is interesting, to say the least. But at least we know she's one of the elite as well. And they're just talking, doing whatever. And how, Fisk was rather hostile with her, or she was with him. And that she was nervous. Nervous about her husband being absent. Yeah, interesting to say the least, right?
Yeah, her attitude was a complete 180.
Yeah.
From the last time she had been in the presence of Fisk.
Yep. Now, while everything's going on at the ball, Bullseye is being taken to the doctor. And, he reveals that one of his teeth's broken and uses it to kill one of the guards and breaks free and then kills the doctor, and he escapes. Not only does he escape, but he gets to put on a uniform and gets off the island. And where do you think he's headed?
Daredevil's house?
You would think that, but no. Because Matt shows up at the mansion as well, fashionably late. And we see, some things happening. Like Powell taking out a journalist for having a camera, waiting to snap pictures of Mr. Fisk. And although Gallo kind of tries to intervene, Powell takes over, kicks the shit out of the journalist. And correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't he put his hand in a frying vat? Yeah.
A deep fryer vat, yeah.
Excessive force indeed.
I like it. Powell's like, this hasn't been excessive force, but this is.
And just, does his thing. Well, among other things, there, obviously the Fisk and Vanessa are walking about. They're mingling. They're doing their thing, and more of the elite are going into a private room that Fisk has, and they're talking. They're talking business. Some of them are coming out like they're what would you say? Let down
Like
or
they'd seen a ghost?
yeah, like seen a ghost, threatened, that type of stuff. And it goes to show, they don't show all of the conversations going on, but
Yeah.
something is being said. And we finally get to a point where we see Jack go in the room and speak with Fisk. And Fisk brings out the whole swordsman bit. You're a vigilante, just like the rest of them, so on and so forth. Painting the picture and doing what they need to do. And he's threatening him. But I do like Jack's response to a lot of it as well.
He's not being intimidated.
Well, that's the thing. Even though he was being threatened, he's like, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, because he got up and got right back into Fisk's face. He's like,
here I am.
And? Kind of,
What are you going to do about it, dude?
And Fisk is like, well, that is probable cause for a visit by my anti-vigilante task force.
Yeah. Well, while that's all happening, Poindexter is obviously making his way somewhere. And it just so happens that he's going to the mansion. He's going to Gracie Mansion. And he actually gets in. Not only does he get in, but I'm pretty sure he takes out a couple of guards in the process, one of which is perched up over the dance floor. And Wilson and Vanessa start dancing. And Heather and Matt are dancing. But Matt is having a heart-to-heart conversation. Oh, let me rephrase. Heather is having a heart-to-heart conversation with Matt, and he is not paying attention because he's listening to every single conversation that is going on in not only that smaller room with Fisk and Jack, but also the conversations that are going around the dance floor, and he's hyper-focusing on them and cutting her out. And she starts to get mad, like, dude, you're not even listening to me. He's like, I am, but, well, don't do anything stupid.
Yeah.
Don't do anything stupid. And as they're dancing, they bump into the Fisks, and they switch partners.
On purpose.
On purpose. Now, Wilson is dancing with Glenn, and Matt is dancing with Vanessa. And he flat out just starts asking questions. And Fisk, on the other hand, is talking to Heather, saying that I'm not well, actually, before we even do that, I love that Fisk was just talking to Matt while the four of them were dancing separate.
Yeah. What were you looking for, devil?
Yeah. I love, and granted, he knows Matt's Daredevil. We've seen this,
Yeah.
and that spawns back to the first 3 seasons of Daredevil on Netflix. And I just
wanted this one.
I love the way he was just talking quietly while dancing with Vanessa about this. And then that's when Cashman finds out that Poindexter escaped the prison to let the Fisks know. And that's when they switch. And Fisk is talking to Heather like, listen, I'm not the monster they make me out to be. However, your boyfriend, we know is the real monster. And while he's talking to her, Matt's talking to Vanessa. And he accuses her of ordering Foggy's death.
You're the one that did it.
Because he's the one that figured it out. That it wasn't Wilson ordering the hit, because if you think about it, he wasn't around. He had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
He was already away because of the whole situation with Echo.
Yeah.
And he said, I know it was you.
Yeah.
Now, Vanessa kind of just laughs.
No, she tried to get away from him.
Well, she did. She did. But Fisk, at the same time, tells Heather that your boyfriend may have a secret he doesn't want you to know. All while this is happening, up on the balcony, Dexter, that's what I'm going to call him, Dexter. One, because he's a stone cold killer. And two, don't get me wrong, Benjamin sounds fine, but Dexter Poindexter sounds so much better. But Bullseye has already taken out a guard, taken up a sniper position above the balcony, and is ready to take out who we think is going to be Matt Murdock. But instead, he's trying to take out Fisk.
That was my first thought as he lowered the gun.
Yep.
Well, first let me say that he took the place of the guard that was of the AVTF guard that was standing up there.
Yep. Killed him
as a sniper.
Mm-hmm.
But as he lowered the gun, my brain's going, is he going for Heather? Is he going for Vanessa? Is he going for Matt? Or is he going for Fisk?
Yeah. It's going to be one of two.
Which one's he going for? You know?
I mean, the cool thing was they did it so nonchalantly that you had the target from the scope and you didn't know who he was going to be aiming for until
over all four of them.
And well, that's the thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, they were dancing, so they were moving, but they weren't like going back and forth like you were line dancing moving.
No, they were stationary dancing.
Yeah.
Basically.
But Matt picks up on the gun being cocked and firing and jumps in the way and saves Wilson instead. He got shot in the shoulder. He's fine. He's had worse. But everybody, obviously shocked. Heather is there, stays with him. Stay with me, stay with me. And, kind of a repeat of the previous episode, only the roles are switched. And as the guests start to scatter, AVTF goes to neutralize Bullseye while Matt is bleeding out onto the floor.
Well, they also secure Fisk and Vanessa, too.
Well, yeah, they run them off and get them to cover. And that's how the episode ends. Now, I would love to say that this was a 100% you needed to pay attention to every single scene, but you didn't.
No,
you didn't.
This one had three main points.
Yeah. And I loved the intimidation factor with all of the rich people talking with Fisk at the party. I love that they brought Bullseye back into play because, let's face it, we had only seen him in the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
So bringing him back, we're now full circle with one of Daredevil's deadliest enemies.
Mm-hmm.
Ha-ha. Ha-ha. So we've had three main villains. Kingpin, News, and Bullseye. Bullseye's back again. Bullseye's not going to die anytime soon. And to be honest, I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't.
Right.
But that's the key thing is what we just saw at the party. That was the thing. He escaped jail. They had a fight. They reconciled at the party. They got to the party and Bullseye escaped jail. And now he's going after Fisk. What do you give this episode?
Well, you mentioned the word full circle.
Yep.
And I know we're dead on time, but follow me on this.
Si, senor.
Think back to episode 1 when Foggy got shot.
Yes.
Okay. When Foggy got shot and went down,
Yes.
the girl, can't think of her name,
Paige,
dropped down to her knees on his left-hand side.
Uh-huh.
Eventually worked her way around to his right-hand side to cover the wound. But initially, she went down to her knees on his left-hand side.
Oh. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Replay in your mind what happened when Matt took the bullet.
That's right. Same side.
Matt went down. Where did Heather go?
The other side.
She didn't go to the side of the wound.
Nope.
She went to his left side. Full circle moment.
Mm-hmm.
Foggy's death. The death of that relationship between the three of them and that law firm and everything else to the end of this episode.
You're right.
Picture freaking perfect comparisons between the two.
You're right. Holy crap. You, sir, are right.
There's a reason for that.
Do tell. Tell me. Give me
I
your
don't
reason.
know. I was just going to say, I don't know what the reason for it is. But I think we're going to find out next week.
We are
Or
definitely.
actually, tomorrow.
Yep, tomorrow. Tomorrow's episode 9. The final
But-
episode, yes.
Just that. Well, I'm going to hold off on that. The entire rest of the episode.
Yes,
Great episode.
absolutely.
But in my opinion, best so far
Absolutely.
of the 8. Storylines closing, storylines opening, storylines continued.
I like it.
Pacing was beautiful. The whole 9 yards. 4.75
Ooh.
at this point.
Ooh. Which means that might go up to a 5.
Hold on. Not
Ooh.
done. You add in the full circle moment at the end.
Uh-huh.
5.
Nice. JT's first 5 for this season. Love it. I love it.
If it wasn't for the connection taking us all the way back to the very beginning scene
Mm-hmm.
of this series, it wouldn't have done it.
I like it. I
But
like
that
it.
tie-in just did it for me.
I like it. Well, for me, I'm not at a 5, but I'm at a 4.75 for this episode as well. It was
I knew you would be.
It was a very good episode. Very, very good episode. I love that they brought Bullseye back into play. I love that they had him escape. I really hope they don't kill him off because they haven't done so yet. And he's been around since season 1 on Netflix. So
Make a prediction.
you're going to make a prediction? Go for it.
It turns into an Adam situation
Oh,
with Bullseye.
think so?
I think so. Because Bullseye double-crossed Fisk and tried to kill him.
True. But what if, hear me out,
Oh, go
what
ahead.
if he's not the reason and Vanessa is? What if Vanessa wants him dead because of Adam?
Well, I think in that situation,
I can write this stuff.
I think Fisk would win out for a little while in that situation.
It's possible.
I think Fisk would win out until he told Vanessa that he still had him.
Yeah,
And then Vanessa's going to pull her power move to get rid of him.
it's possible.
But I could see that because that's a really easy way to pull him in, in the middle of season 2.
Yeah, true. Very true.
Because he's going to go into hiding. He's going to just appear.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He'll be
So
all over the
he
place.
needs to be in hiding for a little while. So that works out perfectly to bring him in somewhere during season 2, to bring him back in.
Which is why I'm like, they better not kill him off.
I don't think they will. They
better not kill him off, because if they do, I'm going to be very angry.
At least not for a little while, anyway.
Very angry indeed.
But with Wilson Fisk, I can't see him. If he makes it through the end of season 1, I can't see him making it through the end of season 2.
Anything's possible, though.
It is the MCU.
Exactly. No one stays dead. No one stays dead in the MCU. Well, that, my friends,
great episode,
is the end of this week's Avenger Pretenders. Whew. 2 episodes, 2 weeks in a row. Craziness. Tomorrow night is the
only
new
one
episode
next week.
What?
I said, thank God it's only one episode next week.
Yes, thank God, because, yeah. Next week's, this week's episode that comes out tomorrow at 9 o'clock while we're doing the Sully Show at 8 is going to be titled Straight to Hell. So that's going to be an interesting one, to say the least. Comes out tomorrow around 9 o'clock. It'll be great. It'll be great. But we'll be talking about it on Monday next week, 8 p.m. Eastern for Avenger Pretenders. And then hopefully we have a week off.
Comes out the 22nd.
Oh, does it?
Mm-hmm.
Does it really?
And if I remember correctly, it's a 3-episode premiere.
Crap.
A 3-episode premiere on a 12-episode series.
Crap. Yep. April 22nd. 1, 2, 3. Damn. How the hell are we going to do that?
We'll figure that one out later.
Oh, man. What day is April 22nd? Is that a Tuesday?
Hang on a second. Tuesday, yep.
Damn. Whatever happened to them coming out on Wednesdays?
Yeah, Andor starts the day after we finish Daredevil.
Damn it. Damn it all to hell. But we'll make it work. Maybe we'll do the same thing we did with this season of
We may have to.
cutting things up and doing the important stuff. We'll see. But as for now, there he is, the Redneck JT. I am Sully. Please join us tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern for the Sully Show right here on Accidental Punch TV. We look forward to seeing you all and you all being a part of the conversations that we're going to have tomorrow, because it's going to be a great, great show. I promise you. I do. I promise. We like to have fun. And as for everything else, we will be back next Monday for Avenger Pretenders at 8 p.m. Eastern to talk about episode 9 of Daredevil Born Again. And as always, my friends, just remember, Thanos was right.
Kind of.